Hello everyone, welcome to the first episode of me reviewing old J-horror that I liked as a kid. So it's funny, today I'm not going to be reviewing J-horror, but it is a part of the Danger After Dark set, so I did want to talk about it, also the nostalgia. I really loved this movie when I was younger, and it means a lot, and I just want to share it with everyone else pretty much.
Level 2 cornerstone. Hostiles detected.
So the movie I'm talking about today is Moonchild, and it's what started me on my J-horror obsession. I said this before, it was a part of a box set, and it was the least scary or like the least terrifying or least disturbing movie out of the entire box. And I wanted to start it off lighthearted because it may get dark later. Very dark. So this movie was directed by someone named Takahisa Seize. And I learned that the screenplay is both by Takahisa Seize and also GACKT. Which makes perfect sense because this is very obviously a GACKT movie. I mean, it's a GACKT and Hyde movie, but there are many scenes where it's like, yeah, we're focusing on GACKT here. It's fine. I loved it. When I was younger, I loved it. So the movie starts off in Japan, and it has a scene where you can see Hyde's character, Kei. He's talking to another vampire companion. It seems like they're running from something, and this companion decides that he no longer wants to be a vampire. Now, Kei is trying to convince him to keep going, but he's just like, nah, I'm tired. I'm done with this. And so they decide to go to the beach. And during this beach scene, he sings one of my favorite songs in the world, or at least it was one of my favorite songs in the world, called Orenji no Tayo. Funny story, when I first moved to Japan, that was my go-to karaoke song. It's a very beautifully composed song, and I recommend everyone listen to it. You can probably find it anywhere on YouTube. So there is a time jump, and from there it focuses on these three children. They're Japanese immigrant children in Japan. It seems like they don't have parents. It doesn't say whether their parents died or abandoned them, but it's very obvious they're on their own. They're stealing something from a very stereotypical looking gangster, and they run to their hideout where Kei seems to be resting. I forgot to mention that from this point on it takes place in Taiwan. And the reason why it takes place in Taiwan is because there's an economic downturn in Japan, and many Japanese people decide to move to other countries. And one of the countries was Taiwan. Now in their hideout, Kei is there. He's not responsive. It seems like he's really tired, or that something's going on with him. The kids ask him who he is. He's just like, go away. And they're like, okay, well, this dude is weird. And they go about what they're doing. They count what they stole. They stole like a bunch of money. And it just so happened the stereotypical gangster found them and begins to attack the children. So the attack ends with one of the little boys being shot in the leg. So this character that gets shot in the leg ends up being the brother of GACKT's character, Sho. And prompted by this attack, Kei decides to take it upon himself to stop the gangster, and ends up feeding on the gangster after the attack. The children see it and they're kind of freaked out, all except for Sho, who has the creepiest scene of him smiling at the camera. Like it seems like at first the child actor really didn't want to smile, but then the director really forced it out of him, because that was a scary that was weird. That was a very weird scene. But I get it. They were trying to show that, you know, he didn't see anything wrong. He actually saw a friend in Kei, but still, like, it was just like. And then from that point on, there's another time jump, and I just want to talk about this scene. So it starts off with a gunfight, and you see GACKT, whose character's name is Sho, dodging bullets. He's just like, and no, he's not a vampire. He's just a normal human in this. And I'm like, normal people don't dodge bullets. Don't know who needs to hear that, but it's really hard to dodge a bullet in real life. Don't Yeah, no, I don't quite understand that. But you know what? He looked cute doing it, and that's all that matters. So during this gunfight, they end up meeting another character whose name is Son. His actor's name is Lee Hong Wong. I hope I said that correctly. Who I learned is an American actor. For some reason I thought he was Taiwanese, but he's an American of Chinese descent, if I remember correctly. So in this, it just so happened that they both were having a shootout with the same people. They didn't know who each other were. They all point guns and they're just like, who are you? Blah, 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 blah. And they find out that they're pretty much on the same team at this very moment. And they decide that they need to join forces. So then there's this cute little moment with them all kind of pointing guns in each other's general direction and shooting. And meanwhile, everyone around them is getting shot, but it's just them looking cool. I feel like that's a really big highlight. I don't know why. I think it's adorable. Like, this whole movie, like when you're watching it, you can really tell they're trying to be these cool, tough guys, but they really aren't. And I love how Gact, with his character, he made it seem like, oh, I'm trying to be really cool, but I'm also quirky and a little awkward. After all this violence is over, they decide that they're going to be friends. And Son brings along his sister. Now, I do want to give a little warning. They briefly mentioned that she was sexually assaulted, but it was just very brief. It was like 2 sentences about it. And then from that point, that was it. And Son's sister's name is Li Che. I know I did not say that correctly. I know 100% I didn't say it correctly at all. So this being the movie that it is, it really does seem like they tried their best to make it as feel good as possible in the beginning, because things go downhill from a certain point, just straight down. And there's some cute little scenes of them interacting. It's really obvious that Shou has a really big crush on Li Che. And they go as far as, like, Shou has flowers behind his back. He was planning on bringing it to her. And unfortunately, everyone else, a part of the group, was there. So he ends up throwing the flowers kind of to the side and acting like he wasn't, he wasn't going to do anything. And Li Che ends up finding the flowers and putting them in a vase and saying they're beautiful. And this scene is just really adorable. There's like a montage, there's, your normal friendship montage, and there's even a group photo. And you should know, so if you've watched a lot of movies like this, you would know if there's ever a friendship montage or a group photo, everyone's gonna die. And that is correct. So soon after, they have this fun, they have their little group photo, thus begins each of the characters being picked off one by one. So during the shootout, they were challenging a rival gang. And of course that gang wanted retaliation. So they find the most easiest target, which was one of the friends named Toshi. So there were like 2 men that came to Toshi and they were like, show me where everyone else is. And he has no choice and he does it. So come find out, Li Che is an artist and she made this beautiful mural, and they were all at the opening ceremony pretty much. Everyone except for Kay, of course, because Kay is a vampire. He can't go out in the sun, and this event was happening during the daytime. So once the guys find the group, they start opening fire, and thus ensues a little bit of a scuffle. Somehow Kay found out, and he's covered in a cloak trying to shield himself from the sun. And he tries to fight, the 2 guys, but he's too weak, because you find out in the earlier scene that he didn't want to drink blood because he spent so much time around humans that he didn't want to be a monster. But unfortunately, this made him weak. Toshi tries to do this symbolic gesture and save his friend. Unfortunately, Toshi ends up getting shot. He's the first one down. So this is like a really sad scene, because you can tell how much they're hurt, but then also you can tell how weak Kay was, because while they're, trying to have their last moment with their dying friend, Kay is off feeding on one of the gangsters that tried to kill them. He can't help that it's his nature. And at that point, he just really couldn't stop, even when his friends told him that he should stop. They were like, Toshi's dead, please stop. Nah, none of that. So right after that, there's another time jump. Like, I get the importance of time jumps in a movie, but sometimes it's a bit excessive. I feel like there's other ways to show the passage of time. Like, if you do one time jump already, like do a montage to show the passage of time or something like that. But, you know, there's just another time jump. And from there, you end up learning that Sho married Lee Che. They have like a very beautiful kid together. And that Son is no longer a part of the friend group because he ended up joining another gangster organization who told him that he should be looking out for his own. Which is very annoying to hear. Like, these people that you bonded with, that you spent so much time with, you're just gonna leave them because someone was just like, oh, they're Japanese. Like, you're just gonna leave them simply because, you know, they're not, you know, from the same place you are, they're immigrants or blah blah blah. I get it. I get the importance of wanting to take care of, you know, your own people. Of course, I understand that 100%, but don't leave behind the people, you know, that helped you through tough times. His brother-in-law is one of the people he left behind, and like his sister, like, I don't understand it. So it shows Gat, and he's really cute. Like, this is a look, it's cute. Like, at this time, he really liked wearing leather suits. I think I'll probably put a few pictures and a video of the scene. And so he's wearing like this leather suit. He has like guns on his waist and a white coat. And from this point on, you can tell that he's had a shift in his personality. He goes from being like this quirky, awkward guy to this very full of himself person. It's very obvious that he's gone up in rank. He has a lot more power, and that power had gotten to his head. He goes to a club, I guess, to confront like a rival group, and it just so happened to be that Son is there. He tries to say hi, and Son is like, okay, you're here, whatever. And I can tell, like, in that moment, like, I could tell that hurt. Like, I get it, this is characters, this is a movie, but in this moment, I put myself in that situation, and I was like, imagine just having a person that you cared a lot about just be that dry to you. That had to be hurtful. So of course he ends up being dramatic and gets up like he's gonna do something and reveals that he has the tightest pants possible. Just like they couldn't find looser ones. Just I mean, that wasn't the point. The point was he was supposed to look like he was gonna do something, but all I could notice was this, like, yo, like, could you get looser pants? No? Okay, you know, it's fine. It's perfectly fine. So after that whole situation, like that tough guy facade, like, ooh, I'm gonna do this, blah, 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 they end up leaving and going to his brother's bar. And his brother has like a really nice bar. And it seems like he has a new group of people that seem to be working for him. There's a scene where Gak speaks English, and it's obvious this is fan service because in the movie, Hyde also speaks Mandarin. I believe it's Mandarin, either Mandarin or Cantonese. At that time, I don't know if anyone remembers, but like that was a time when they really wanted, you know, artists to show that they could speak other languages. So, you know, they would have them say something in a different language or do something in a different language. Like, now it's still a thing, but I remember back then just like being like, oh wow, he's speaking English, I'm so happy he's speaking English. I was annoying. I mean, I was a weeb back then, so there's also that. So there's this really interesting bank robbery scene where like they all pull off a look. I just think there's many looks in this movie. Yes, 2000s fashion was a crime and it should be addressed, but also I think because I really like that gaudy, just horrible, like I like ironic fashion, and because of that I just felt like all the looks in this movie were looks. Like Gak's hair in this was a look. Hyde's outfits were a look. Well, all of their outfits were a look. Just nice. Mwah. After the robbery scene, or somewhere in all of that, Sho is watching TV and he finds out, so apparently Kay had been missing this whole time, and while watching TV, Sho finds out that he's actually been in police custody the whole time he's been missing. No one knew where he went. So it was found out that he'd been detained for murder. Sho goes to, you know, talk to Kay and let him know everything that's happened, but it just seems like Kay is really dejected. Also, probably he hasn't been able to have blood while, you know, he was locked up. They had him in the Hannibal Lecter mask. Love it. So the group of people that worked for Sho, they end up getting killed, and so does Sho's brother because he decides to get high and take revenge. Sho's wife ends up getting a brain tumor and dying, and it seems like it takes a really big toll on Sho, but let's be honest, this was a Gak and Hyde movie, and they just wanted it to be about them, so they just focused on themselves. They just killed everyone off. They're like, okay, that was enough of everybody, it's time for us now. And the grief that Sho is feeling causes him to decide, you know, just to have one last big hurrah. Mind you, he has a daughter. He has a child that he should be taking care of. Kind of reminds me of Gak's real life scandal, but I'm not gonna get into that because you could probably just look it up. Kay is trying to tell Sho, like, no, don't do this. What are you doing? What's wrong with you? And he's just like, you know, all my friends are gone. I really just can't, like, everyone's gone and I can't take it. He has his last little moment or whatever, and then it does another time jump to, I think it was like 2040 something, like 2045. So it's the third time jump of the movie, and you come to find out that after all of this, Kay is the one who raised Sho's daughter. And you see that she's revamping the mural that her mom made, which I just feel like that's a very beautiful sentiment. Like, just, you know, she just wanted to follow in her mom's footsteps, and you find out that she's off to do some big art thing in another country, and he's like, yeah, my work here is done. I'm so glad, you know, I was able to raise you and be there for you, but now I'm finished. And come to find out, Sho was alive the whole time. And they decide to go to the beach for what seems to be one last time. So they go to the beach, they sit out until sunrise, and they disappear. But like, other than, you know, a few details, a few plot holes, or some things that are going on, I feel like that movie was a really good movie. I would give it like a 7.5 out of 10 because it's really good. The whole time I was watching, I remember I had the goofiest smile. I was just like, because that was my childhood. That was something that meant a lot to me when I was younger. And even the ending credits having Orenji no Tayo, it was just like heartwarming, and it brought back so many memories of being a teenager wanting to move to Japan and learn more about Japanese culture, and then being an adult that, you know, moved to Japan to study fashion, but being able to meet so many great people. And Orenji no Tayo reminds me of how I felt when I left, which, you know, it was really sad for me. But yeah, but also but other than that, I give it like 7.5 out of 10. You can 100% tell that this was a Gak and Hyde movie, but mostly a Gak movie. There was fan service, you know, Gak being all cute, doing like really cute things. A scene where Gak and Hyde are really uncomfortably close for some reason. I don't quite know. I mean, I know why, but like, to be honest, I don't quite understand why they were like so close in the scene, but I bet I fangirled when I was younger. You know, the friendship montage and everything, it made you feel good until, you know, everything bad happened, but then it made you feel good again. And I really enjoy the movie, and I recommend you watch it. And if you made it this far in the video, thank you. And I will say, if you do want to watch it, it is on YouTube. All you have to do is type in Moonchild 2003. I'm not going to add a link because I'm very afraid that if it gets too much attention, it will be taken down because it is a full-length movie. I haven't been able to find it on streaming sites, and I think I'm gonna wrap things up. So thank you so much for watching. It means a lot, and being able to do this means a lot to me, and so thank you so much. And I hope, you know, you're having a good day, or that you do have a good day or a good night, and thank you again. Bye.